Hey everybody, welcome to the roundtable. We got videos coming out all week on the 2024 European Championship football. And today we are not doing a big five for a change, and this may be the last one we end up doing. We are doing Holland. Not that Holland, we're doing the Netherlands. And I've decided to start off. Here's my thing. Who are the Dutch? Who are they? What's their identity?
Wetland Germans.
What's their identity? What's Ronald Koeman doing? I don't know. Does anybody know what he's doing? Did they have a style? I'm not sure. I mean, one thing I can say is their defense is frightening. Van Dijk, Delight, Frimpong. Nathan Ake. Some of those guys are my favorite players. I mean, Ake and Van Dijk. So I love that kind of tough football. But I am not afraid of this team at all, unless they play a team like Germany, where I think that there's too much of a styles class. Pretty much what Leach said before about Germany, because this team could certainly park the bus. But at best, this is a building block team, because I just don't even know what their mission is. Are they going to win the tournament? Are they just trying to get out of the rounds? I mean, this was a team that was in a final. Let's see, 2010, and were considered a team that could beat Spain back then. And where have they been since? I don't know, because they're the Boston Red Sox of football. They're just always very, very close, but they can never close the deal. And nothing about this lineup really impresses me offensively, with the possible exception of Xavi Simons, who I think is a little bit underrated and unappreciated. I got to see him in person play against VN Wiesbaden. He is a frightening player. But he's not Ronaldo, you know. He's not Messi. He's not a generational talent by any stretch. I think he's a little underrated, maybe a little underappreciated, but I'm not really scared of him. Frankie de Jong, I expect him to be as Frankie de Jong as always. I don't think there's any reason we won't see anything other than greatness from him. And I think if Denzel Dumfries is put in a proper position or something that works for him, he can be a danger. But going up a little more is Cody Gakpo, Liverpool guy I like. That's not enough. I don't think that's enough at all. I think this team will really, really struggle. I mean, if they can beat Austria, which is actually a lot better a team than I think a lot of people give them credit for, they'll get out of the group. But I think the quarters for them would be an excellent run. And I don't know if Koeman will be around after this. And I don't hope, and I have to be honest with you, I've lived in Germany for the past 19 years. I'm terribly biased against this team. I hope they lose every game. I love the Dutch. I hate their football fans, and I like to see them suffer almost more than I like to see the English suffer. And that's saying something, because I was brainwashed with lots of English irrational hate as an Irish American. So there's nothing would make me happier to see these guys just get blown out of the water. But I don't think I'm being biased when I say the only thing that concerns me when I'm playing them is the defense, and nothing impresses me about the coach. I think a lack of identity. But yeah, this could be a building block, and unless Xavi Simons just becomes absolutely explosive, I don't see them really going all that far. Challenges?
My dark horse for the tournament.
Yeah.
Can't disagree with you.
Yeah. Okay, then you go next.
I actually have a challenge for you, Tony.
Okay, yeah, what's that?
You said that the defense impresses you?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. A delight? I think he's great. I think he's underrated for Bayern.
But
Absolutely.
The composition of the defense, I'm going to give
that's up to the coach.
I
Personally, all right, let me read the weakness. I don't get into the coaching stuff because I don't know enough about it as far as the composition. But every player I mentioned there is a first-class, world-class defender. Now, that's up to the coach, and I don't have a lot of faith in the coach. But, I mean, Delight, Frimpong, Aki, these guys are, I see Aki when he plays for Man City always impresses me. He always makes the big tackle, and he actually can carry the ball up and make plays to the midfielders. Yeah, I think their defense is kind of frightening. I just don't know what they're going to do with it. So as far as the composition, I can't speak on that, and I'll concede automatically. But is the talent on the defense? No, the talent on the defense is definitely there. I'll defend them on that. I'll go, but I just don't know what they're going to do with it.
Well, this is why they're my dark horses for the tournament. Okay.
So you're going next. All right, you're going next. Go
I'm
ahead.
going next because I kept who I was picking quite quiet, right? And it was Holland. I've been watching like some of the things. Like if you go back through the qualifiers, right? And this is what we're going to go with. So they lost to they won the 6. Passing accuracy 88, so you know they're going to sit back with possession being 57. They're just going to sit, let you come. 7 goals conceded but 5 clean sheets. 17 goals, fair enough, so you're looking 1-0s. But then you get to that like defending, and it was like 299 balls recovered, 87 tackles, clearances attempt 99, 21 attempts conceded on target. They're just going to park the bus, and they're going to be a hard to break down. And that's where I'll totally agree with you, Tommy, because it's like that defence can be frightening. It can be, but it's identity, because I'm not a big fan of Coleman. Nah. Great player, manager, nah. It's just, if we go back to the World Cup, they gave Argentina, the winners, a scare. They gave them a scare. But I think it's their time. I think this is the tournament. They're just going to go, right, okay, we're here. But no matter what, they'll get put out in the group stages, because you're looking at that group, it's France, Poland, do you know what I mean? And you don't write really Poland a lot off at all. You don't write them off.
See, I can see a situation where they don't park the bus because Koeman has them playing a Barcelona style. I could see something great, and I think they'll get wiped off the field if they don't, because I think that's their biggest strength. Is in the backfield.
Defense is their greatest
and I could see Koeman going out there and saying, okay, let's play a more open style, which would be just a death knell to them. And because, all right, I could see, because I know these, I see it in Bayern, like, okay, let's try this. Well, now's not the time to try something, and they should have developed that over a year ago, maybe 2. So I'm the joker in the deck is Koeman. They don't have the firepower up front besides Cody Gakpo, who I like, but what are you going to do? And I think Austria's a pretty tough team for them.
If they go through and win it, it's not going to be like 4 or 5 nils. This is like a 1-2
I agree.
At best.
That's the only way they win, in my opinion.
Best. Aye. There's nothing. It's not like if you go back to even when they had Van Bronckhorst, players like that. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, fair enough, the defensive players, but they'll sprint up and they'll cause like havoc and get goals, stuff like that back in the day. It is very much park the bus and see what happens, and that's how like Argentina struggled. Yeah. And fair enough, when it went to penalties, that was how it got decided. But teams that like to play just struggle. They just struggle against this team. But dark horse for the tournament. I think it's going to be them.
Anybody challenge that? Pick 'em, Will.
Mega, on you go.
All right. I don't have too much to say, although I should have probably challenged you there, because I don't think that I wouldn't. I mean, fair enough, you picked the dark horse, but I think they're going to come third in this group. They're probably going to be one of the better third place teams, because pretty much most of the teams who come in third will probably get through. So I think they'll probably get through third place, but then I don't see where they go from there. Yeah, you can go and say they've got a really good defence, stuff like that. Obviously, you've got the main ones. You've got De Ligt, even Mickey van de Ven there, Ake, Van Dijk, really good players. Daley Blind in there, kind of thing. Good midfield as well. You've got Xavi Simons, really like him. Coop Minos is doing some good stuff as well. I think it's highly rated. Nick, you're a bit of a fan of him as well. Fred de Jong, good. But I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at the strikers. Now, if the midfields can provide, you're hoping one of these guys can score. And I'm just kind of looking through the goals they've scored this season. Like, Malin's on 15, but was he playing? He played 27 games for Dortmund, so whether he's going to be up for it or not. Depay, 9 goals. Is he going to be that guy who's going to be in this pack away? But I think they should be going with Brian Brobby. He's got 22 goals this season for who's it? I forgot who he plays for now. Ajax. So I'm hoping they kind of use that. They go on like the guy who's in form who can pick the goals away kind of thing, because I don't think they can go. But they can't rely on defence all the time, because these guys are starting to get older now as well. That's one of the things. Although you just said like great defence and all that sort of thing, but you can't over rely on this defence. They can't bail you out every time. And obviously Van Dijk's 32 now. I mean, there's quite a few guys in this are quite aged and all that stuff as well. They'll have that kind of experience, but you can't rely on them. You can't just rely everything on your defence. That's not how you win, unfortunately. I mean, you could go ahead and challenge me. You could say, like, you could tell me Italy last year, but there was other players in that team that made it tick as well.
No. What I was going to say was, it's the group. It's the worrying thing, because we know Poland show up at every tournament. France is a gimme. You know what you're going to get with France, and that's where it's like, will that strength, which is their defence, will it hold? If we see them struggle, you're probably right, it could be third place, and then see what happens after that.
It's luck, isn't it, really?
Mm-hmm. And that's where it's like, you're not going to see this team at all do 5 or 4 goals. It's 1 or 2 best, and then that's it.
I think it's better than calling them a dark horse. I could see them upsetting a big club and knocking them out or something like that. But I just I agree with Megaboo. I mean, yeah, even if this defense is tip top, I mean, they're going to get battered and get tired. And that's whereas
defense, and they've got people who can set them up. But it's where
I can see them upsetting like a Germany if they happen to get them somewhere in the knockout stage. But other than that, I think they're going to be pretty battered by that point anyway. That's just the way I see it. I guess who's next, Megaboo? It's either
should I go? And then
go
Nick
right,
can unleash his fury.
go right ahead. Nick can wrap it.
Wait, can I just ask one question? Megaboo, who you said they'll finish third? Who knocks them out of second?
Who knocks them out of second? You know what?
Yeah, who do you think's going to take that
Austria.
second place?
I'm going to say Austria.
Ooh, nice.
I think Austria's.
I
don't think that's insane. I don't think that's insane. I don't think.
I like when you said Poland show up to every tournament, they somehow just get through. But Lewandowski doesn't show up, kind of thing. Like, so I don't know. I'm just kind of like,
it's a tough one with Lewandowski.
Poland's
Sometimes
coming rock bottom of this group. I think
Lewandowski is one of the one amazing when he plays for club, and then when it comes to international, it's like, right, okay, we're waiting. Oh, he's got a goal, and it's like, but already.
Yeah, he doesn't, because he doesn't have the midfield to get the ball to him. I mean, he's a guy.
It's what's round about him. It's what's round about him.
Relying too much. He became like a one-man team half the tournaments.
I
mean, I know he's got some
totally
extra guys
agree.
here, but he's like
Totally
a one-man
agree.
team, and it's unfortunate. Like, he doesn't have that extra something. I mean, there's some guys coming through, but then I don't know how old Lewandowski is now, but like. He surely can't keep going. This might even be his last
Couple
tournament.
of
If they
years
do it
younger.
poor,
It's probably his last tournament, but he's still pretty effective. He still can. He can still
he'll
bury.
pack him. He's like Giroud. He'll still pack him away.
Yeah.
Like you can rely on him. So. Yeah, Leach, go. On you go, pal.
When Tommy spoke about the defense, and I have to agree, individually, De Ligt, Van de Ven, Ake, Van Dijk, even De Vrij and Blind, all, especially, I mean, the last 3, Van Dijk maybe out of the equation. De Vrij and Blind are like the old guys who can sub on like late in the game, who still have like, they're not like 99% anymore, but they have the class and the knowledge what to do. They lack the speed. But what I think, and I mean, Koeman is a madman when it comes to football. You never know what you're going to get. But this team is going to be screwed, and I'm not saying this loose. If Van de Ven somehow gets injured, they are screwed on the left side. While on the right wing, they have the guy whose name we all can pronounce, Gertruida or whatever it is. I don't know.
I was closest to that.
If he gets injured, you can at least drop back Frimpong or Dumfries to somewhat fill up that slot. But on the left wing, the only guy who can play left back at a decent skill level is Van der Veen. And if he gets injured, they are done for. I don't see them recovering from the left back being injured. It's a weird thing because he picked up 7 very talented defenders, but somehow decided to pick 6 center backs for his team, which can work out if you play like a 3-man lineup in the back, which they used to do like 3 years ago. So the choice would have been fine. But now he plays 4 guys in the back with Geertruida on the right wing, which makes perfect sense because he's awesome. But on the left wing, I don't see it. It's probably the biggest hole is the left wing entirely for them when it comes to everything. And then I don't know what Koeman was smoking when he thought that bringing up Wijnaldum again was a good choice. It's one of those like odd choices you bring into the team. Like, I have 26, I bring in one of these old guys who has like tons of experience but can like run 10 meters. And then I agree with everybody else that in the front they are probably lacking the most. There's nobody in there who's like the punch guy. Depay was like overhyped like 5 years ago. His mantra is gone. Wout Weghorst is a big physical guy, but he's playing at Hoffenheim. That's not a dig at Hoffenheim. That's the kind of skill level. Yeah, you probably put Brobbey in the front, who had a very good season, but everything else around him is just non-existent. It's very weird. It's one of those squads where he decided to bring no left back, and all of his midfield is like central midfielders and offensive midfielders. There's not a whole lot of like technical wingers in there. It's problematic, and it's one of those Koeman things, I think. And I'm as much of a fan of Koopmeiners as Nick is. Probably in my mind one of the best midfielders in all of Europe. But he won't play him. He's not going to play Koopmeiners. He's going to make like a Schouten and De Jong thing. Then he will plop, I don't know, probably randomly Wijnaldum because he thinks it's a good choice as the playmaker, and then he'll plop Frimpong and Gakpo on the wings, and then they'll play, and then you'll definitely have no space for him. But it's the biggest problem is probably the coach.
Nick?
Yeah, I agree with Koeman being the biggest question mark for the side. I think, you talked about left-back positions. Daley Blind has actually played as a wing-back for a few times under Koeman. God knows why.
He's 34 years old.
Yeah, God knows why he's doing it, but Koeman seems to think he can play there, so that's his solution, right? I'm not sure why Hartman didn't come. That would have made a lot more sense for the squad. Yeah, Koeman is a big question mark, certainly, but I think they don't necessarily have the firepower going forward, sure, on paper. But I think in Wout Weghorst is probably going to start, right? I think you've got a really good, target man there, because their biggest strength going forward is the likes of Xabi Simons is a phenomenal footballer. Koopmeiners can play forward. Jeremy Frimpong's been very good going forward this season, playing in the front three sometimes for Bayer Leverkusen. Sure. Gakpo, he can score a lot of goals as he's shown in the past. And so I think you've got a side there where if you've got Wout Weghorst starting up front, sure, he's not going to get a lot of goals for you, but he's a very good target man to then sort of allow the likes of Gakpo and Simmons to sort of play off of him, and so you launch the ball up to Weghorst and he's just going to, take up the defence a bit and sort of play it out so they can do their thing a bit more. And I think that's where their best luck going forward is going to come from. And I think, yeah, you've talked about like the defensive setup may be a bit dodgy, but Tommy is right in the fact that on paper that defence is arguably the best at the tournament. Like on paper, there's some phenomenal defenders there, and so if they're a side that they can grind out these results where they're defensively solid with the players they've got, you've got some really good midfielders in there like De Jong, Koopmeiners, and then you sort of just rely on one of the forwards getting a goal here and there, playing off of Weghorst, maybe he steals a goal, who knows. I think that is an underrated side. I think for me, quarterfinals, I could see it happening. Wouldn't be too shocked if they went a bit further, as Will seems to suggest. But yeah, I think they're one of those that, like, man for man on paper, they've actually got a really solid squad for the tournament. Not necessarily a team that can win it, but I think they're a decent side that could, like Tommy says, could definitely shock a side like Germany or one of the bigger teams if they come up against them and they play their game really well.
I don't got a challenge. I got a question, mostly for the group. Is there any reason nobody bring up Denzel Dumfries? I mean, if they, I've seen a couple of reports. If they put him on the right, he can be really effective. I have seen the guy played before. He definitely has some talent. Are you guys not scared of him at all? Am I overrating him? Or because all the research I've done basically said that Dumfries, the Koeman's putting him in weird positions, and on the right position that he can be effective. But maybe he's not that good in any of your opinions?
I think because you've got Frimpong there and you've got Gertruida, they've had really good seasons too. So you're kind of like, you've got three really good, like, right-hand side who can play that midfield kind of role. I was surprised that even Ian Maatsen was even called up as like a, you could go in there somewhere. I mean, surely you could take someone out here. I mean, surely Wijnaldum's past. You could put Maatsen in there as a left back. Surely something like someone. He takes someone out here. I mean,
you know, Koeman is going to smoke some of the good stuff, and Wijnaldum will start every freaking game.
Yes,
and that's probably going to freaking happen.
But I think that's where we all agree. It's like if you look at that, and like you said, Tommy, it's like Dumfries is effective on the right hand side, but Koeman plays him everywhere. But that's what the Netherlands' problem.
I'm under the impression that Dumfries is starting. I guess he's definitely not going to start Frimpong's spot. I mean, he's got the job. But I'm under the impression, from what I read, is he's going to start somewhere. But it might be better for him to come off the bench. And he can be effective that way as well.
I'm not convinced he's going to start, because Dumfries is the best on the right wing, on the right side of the pitch. He can fill out every spot on the right side of the pitch, but you'll have Gertruida starting as a right back. In the defensive midfield, you'll have De Jong and or Schouten starting most likely. They are going to cover that part of the pitch. And on the right wing, you have Frimpong, you have Simmons, who can play down the right wing. So there's not really a lot of space for him. He's like one of those guys, if you have him as a backup, that's perfect, because he's a huge and a very good player, but I don't think he's going to start a whole lot. Okay. He'll be like the backup guy if one guy gets like 2 yellow cards. You don't have a problem on the right wing. You just throw Dumfries somewhere in there and it works.
Well, yeah, Dumfries shows a little bit of depth. I think I would rather have him coming off the bench as well. But I mean, he does show some depth and he can be effective. But I was of the understanding that he's going to be put in a weird spot, not on the right and starting. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And
Tommy, if Koeman had his way, he'd be a goalkeeper. that's how insane this guy is. You know what I mean? And that's how like look at Louis van Gaal when he came in. That was his swan song, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they scared Argentina. It's Koeman. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know.
You don't know. That's the thing.
And I think that's what's going to be funny, because it's like, well, I can't pick Scotland because I won't pick Scotland for favourites just because I'm a blue nose. Then I won't pick England because then I'll have you and Green Man coming down my throat saying, that's unpatriotic now, well, that's I'm going Holland. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, this is going to be funny to watch.
And you have Dutch blood, correct?
No, Italian.
Oh, you know.
Italian and Northern Irish.
I think Italians got a better shot than the Dutch. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed our Glory Hunters roundtable. Maybe we'll do stuff like in the future. So long, everybody, and good night.